Hi there. Thank you for joining today's Facebook Live. I'm here with Christopher Kai, author of Big Game Hunting, #1 bestseller on Amazon. Great book, and we'll be talking about it briefly. Today, the topic is how to grow your business from 200,000 to 10 million plus. And so we're happy that everybody's here is signed on. And if you wouldn't mind maybe sending some likes or maybe just typing in where you're tuning in from so that we know that you're with us and we have good audio and video, that would be terrific. So let's see here.
So I want to just say, I want to thank Keith for having me here on his Facebook Live. And again, it's about how do you grow your business from $200,000 to over $10 million. And one of the key things that we always talk about, we talk about this all the time, where we're always being approached by people from all over the world on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Facebook saying, how do you find investors? How do you find investors, right?
Right, correct. I had 3 of them yesterday alone, and every day. Thank you for the thumbs up there. Appreciate it, so we know that we're operating correctly here. So yes, constantly every day, numerous times over the course of a day, I'm asked, how to raise money, how to talk to investors, a variety, but it's constantly about finding money. So it's important if you're not self-funded and you're not going to be able to scale solely on your own, that you know how to get capital and how to do it timely.
And let's share a little bit with the audience, Keith, some of your experiences, like about how are you able to learn all this stuff about raising capital, scaling businesses. So if the audience doesn't know who you are, what are some experiences you've had?
Sure. So my background is, first of all, that I've owned more than 50 businesses. Most of them I purchased and repositioned.
50? Did you hear that, people?
More than 50. Repositioned and sold them over the last 30 years. And so through that course of having businesses, and I've also developed businesses from the ground up, about a half a dozen of them. So through all those experiences, as well as helping other people along the way, came to me for advice, and just friends and other people that I encountered along the way shared information, and so through all that experience, was able to learn a lot and be able to apply things, and really kind of fine-tune and kind of hone my abilities to make projects easier to execute than when I had first started out, where it was a lot of trial and error. That experience has really helped me a lot, and has helped a lot of other people as well.
Let's share a story. Like, I think you talked about some kind of shoebox executive.
Through the years, I've had a lot of interesting experiences. One in particular I was sharing with Chris the other day about a gentleman who came to me and wanted me to invest in his company. And so I asked him to provide me with information so I could make an evaluation of whether or not it was worthy making the investment. And, he was looking for about $300,000 of an investment. And so he told me basically he had nothing. He had no business plan. He had his product. And so I asked him, just give me whatever it is you have. So a few days later, he returned to my office with essentially a shoebox with receipts and a couple of checkbooks in there. And some documents, legal documents and so forth, just literally in complete disarray. So I took about 2 weeks to go through the information, and what I determined is that it needed to be organized and put together to really be able to fully grasp what could be done with it. And long story short, I reorganized everything. He then went and spoke with several different people. He was able to raise $600,000 to move his business along, and 2 years later sold the company for $12 million. And that was out of information out of a shoebox.
So just to recap, everyone, we're here with Keith Herman. He's a seasoned executive. He's built over 50 companies over the last 30 years, and he's talking about how he can help entrepreneurs like yourself go from 200,000 to over 10 million. And he was relating a story about a shoebox story where he helped the CEO raise $600,000 within 6 months and helped him sell it to $12 million in 2 years. We have a few questions actually. We have Hank who actually asked, do you have a market you specialize in?
I've been involved in a variety of fields. So I've been involved in, it's currently involved in media, but I've been involved in finance, software, intellectual property, real estate, film projects, medical devices. So I've covered quite a few areas. And what I can explain to you further in you know, if you're interested in coaching and so forth, is how I apply all this experience to the different fields, and you know, how there's a lot of commonalities, but a lot of it has to do with preparation, and you know, I'm going to cover that as we get further into this. So currently I'm specializing in anything that's related to health and wellness because it's a personal interest of mine, to help companies to help more people. So currently that's what I'm kind of focused on, but that's, you know, food companies, medical companies that have medical products, consumer goods, even holistic practitioners. Anything health and wellness related is what I spend the majority of my time on, but I also help companies in tech space and other areas as well.
And Keith, would you agree? So just Hank, so you know, like I've been in various industries as well. I used to work for American Express. I was more on the strategy and credit card side. I've been in the insurance industry, consumer products, education, music, and at the core, it's always about those fundamentals, right? Like, what are some of the fundamentals in, let's say, a business plan?
Yeah, there are certain essentials that you need to have to really be able to have a shot at the success. Because according to the most conservative statistics, 50% of all businesses fail within the first 5 years, and 2/3 fail within 10 years. Those are the most conservative statistics you'll find. Which just basically tells you that over time, you know, the odds are against you that you're going to succeed. So the best, you know, offense, you know, the best defense is the best offense, and that's, you know, preparing. So
let's give a shout out to some of our people. So I'm gonna scroll on my things too. So we're doing concurrent Facebook's live right now. I'm Christopher Kai. I wrote a book called Big Game Hunting: Networking with Billionaires, Executives, and Celebrities. I'm always asked an approach for investors. He is a seasoned executive with over 50 companies under his belt. He's helped raise over $200 million over the course of his career. But we're here to share with you how do you scale your business. But specifically, Keith actually has a coaching program on teaching you how to find investors. But I want to kind of give a shout out very quickly. I'll start first, but Robert, Gela, Bullion, thanks for watching. Justin, Eric, Lauren, Giselle, thanks so much for watching. Who do we have on your side, Keith?
Yeah, there's Hank Watt, Barry Thomas, and Petra, and Lucas. And
FDA experience.
Yeah.
Ooh, Hank's asking a lot of questions.
Yeah, we can get. We'll get to your questions in a bit. Yeah,
So Barry, Hank, Petra, Lucas, thank you so much for asking questions. Keon, hey, thanks for watching, Keon. There's a question over here on my side. So Lauren asked what types of businesses and a couple of examples. So we already shared that example about the shoebox thing where it was more of a software company, right? Are there other businesses that you want to share how you raise money?
Yeah, sure. I can give you, you know, a quick example. Right now, there's a company that I just started working with. So this is just a fresh example that came to me, and I helped them with certain strategic partnerships, and within about 60 days, they went from 40% capacity, manufacturing capacity, to 100%, and they've been sustained at 100%. That's through strategic partnerships, and because of that, they needed capital to be able to expand, to maintain that manufacturing, and also to be able to take on more distribution. So I'm currently working with them to help them secure that, you know, that financing, that capital. Well, it's a combination that we're doing with them, investment and also financing to help them scale to, you know, to the next level, which is going to be probably a quadruple, move within just a matter of a few months based upon the existing distribution that they were able to secure.
And let's share with, when you say strategic partners, like what are some examples of a strategic partner relative to a business?
Right. So strategic partner could be, let's say, a distribution channel, somebody that's going to distribute a product for you. It could be a financial partner. It could be somebody that sets up something from like a revolving line of credit to somebody who does stage funding. So it could be financing, it could be distribution, it could be somebody that helps you even, who's perhaps in your space that kind of, gives you capital to grow your company in a, for the opportunity for them to be able to perhaps acquire your company down the road, kind of like what Microsoft made an investment into Facebook for 10% of the company in hopes that maybe one day they would be able to maybe acquire them. So there's a lot of opportunities like that, but you need to know how to be able to create that environment, to take advantage of those types of opportunities.
Yeah, do we have any questions from our, Lauren said it is backwards on our screens. What is backwards? But anyway, does anyone have any questions? If you do want to raise money and investments for your company, for either Keith or myself, because again, we get asked so many times all throughout the day, week, months about, like, I have people, because I met Elon Musk and a lot of other people, right? And they're like, hey, I want you to introduce me to Elon Musk. I'm like, why? If it's about investments, there are many avenues to find investments, but according to Keith, I mean, he has so much depth. So, like, Keith, why don't you share with, well, first of all, does anyone have any specific questions about how to raise money for their company? If you're interested in learning more about Keith's private coaching program, where he literally walks you through, first, the most fundamental thing is, do you even know what a business plan is? If you know what a business plan is, what are some of the key points? So, Keith, why don't you share a little bit with our audience, what are some of the most basic elements of a business plan? And for those of you on this call who know what a business plan is, in life, knowledge is not power, applied knowledge is power. So keep that in mind, where you can know all this stuff. People always say, oh, I know about networking. Well, it's not about knowing, it's about applying. So as Keith is sharing some of these points to you, notice that it's about applying. And so what are some of the basic points of a business plan that people might want to understand, Keith?
Right. So you have to look at your business plan as kind of like your elevator pitch. You need to get everything in there, and you gotta have a summary to it. You have your full business plan, but you also have a summary. Because you only really get one shot, and so you got to make sure you have everything in there. So some of the key things that you would need would be, for instance, a narrative that would explain what your product or your service is, and what does it solve. The other thing is what's the differentiator between what you have and what the competition is, if there is competition. The next thing would be some background on the founder of the company. Not just what their experience is, but why specifically they're pursuing this project. People want to know that they have a specific interest, that they're emotionally attached, and that that this is something that they're passionate about. Also, what you would like to have in there is information about the market, so an overview of the market itself, and also the trends, because what you want to demonstrate is that you are moving in the direction of the trend, because as they say, the trend is your friend. So you want to make sure you have that. Also, you want to have your sales and marketing and promotional plan that explains how you're going to grow this business, whether it's products or service, how you're going to get the product out, how you're going to get awareness. So that's another point that you want to cover. Then you want to make sure that you have a financial plan, pro forma, if they're known as pro forma, or a budget that gives items, what they call line items. So, an item for each expense that you're going to have. And the more detail that you put in there, the more thought, that they're going to know you put, and it's also going to demonstrate how much knowledge you have. And then the other thing that you want to have in there, which is important, is you want to have information on who your team is, who you're working with. You want information about their backgrounds, whether or not you've worked together, and then also you want to also have list anybody who is what you could categorize as a strategic advisor. And basically what that is somebody that you can go to ask advice about an area that may be beyond what you've experienced. So for instance, if let's say Christopher was going to start a company and he wanted to go into the media business, he could put me as a strategic advisor, somebody that he could come to, so that when he runs into a problem that's beyond what he's experienced, he could at least make a call to me and I could help him to navigate through, waters he's not, traveled before. So those are very important because people want to know that when you run into an impasse, that you have other resources and folks that are available to help you through the more challenging times.
Awesome. Great info, Keith. Just as a recap for everyone, some people have signed on just now. Raul, thanks for watching. Michelle, Daniela, hopefully you're both doing well. Layla, look forward to seeing you in Australia next week. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for setting things up. Chanel, Albert, GPS gifter. Look out for Albert. He has a nonprofit which helps raise awareness for why sports are great. Lauren, thanks so much for your question. Eric, Robert, Justin, and let me go on this side. Oh, Mike Navarre, what are the key things you should have in place before asking for money? So before we answer the question, I just want to recap that we're here with Keith Herman. He's a seasoned executive. I am what they call the Billionaire Network, according to Inc. magazine, where I help people connect with people. I guess the cover is back.
But Big Game Hunting is the name of the book.
Big Game Hunting, Networking with Billionaires. There's actually a book that I wrote. But
we'll have to figure out how to project it so it's not backwards. But
we're here to share with you because Keith and I get approached all the time on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Facebook, on emails. He showed me just emails last night about how people are always asking for investors. And so we meet so many people that are kind of not very mindful that you really need to have a business plan. You really need to have a clarity of strategy. And so Keith, he's literally helped raise over $200 million in his field. And so I thought it'd be awesome if we can kind of band together and say, hey, let's add some value. Christmas is coming up. We want to help you plan for 2017. Keith has this awesome pilot program he's doing, which is a private coaching on helping you find money, helping you scale your business. So if you have any questions about how do you scale your business, how do you raise money, please type in the comments interested, and Keith and I will follow up with you. But so far, thank you so much for being on this Facebook Live. So Mike's question is, Mike actually has an insurance company in Beverly Hills. So if anyone's interested in insurance, reach out to Mike Navarre. So Mike's question is, what are the key things you should have in place before asking for money? That's a great question, Mike.
Great question, and the single greatest thing that you can have is a very detailed business plan. I mean, that is critical. Everything's in there, and it's got to be clear. It's got to be concise. It's got to be relatable, and so I would say that that's really the single most important thing. But it's very comprehensive, but it's very easy to do. There's a big misconception about business plans that you have to be, a financial analyst to put one together because, there's a lot of information. But the reality is that out of, a business plan that could be, anywhere from 50 to 100 pages plus, there's really only about two or three pieces of paper of critical substance in there. And so for anybody who's intimidated by doing a business plan, I would encourage you to at least get your feet wet and look at just some basic business plans. And essentially what you do is just kind of build on it from there and provide more information, which creates the bulk to your plan. But again, as I said earlier on, you want to create a summary. That's just a good analogy would be like a PowerPoint presentation that kind of runs through it quickly, so that somebody can understand what you're all about just within a matter of a minute or two. And so hopefully that answers your question. And again, it's the business plan. Easily can be done. Shouldn't be intimidated by it. And
but also even though it's Keith says it's easy, but really it requires a certain level of strategy and technique, which is why he's going to start coaching more entrepreneurs, right? Because it's really about whenever people ask me, oh Chris, I know this stuff, but it's not about knowing. So let's get very specific, right? Because Keith was talking about how to be clear and concise. So whenever I meet people, they ask me, hey, what do? I say, I wrote a book on networking with billionaires and executives. I help businesses find more affluent clients, but specific, concise, and clear. In Keith's case, he helps people scale their business finding capital, but though he says it's easy, you know, it's also a lot of time that he spent to build up this knowledge base to make it easy, which is why it's invaluable to meet people like Keith to pick his brain, because literally he can tell you something in like 2 minutes that you won't learn in like 2 hours, 200 hours, because it's about the experience he's built out, where I think you mentioned you've looked at over 1,000 business plans, Keith?
Yeah, I'm swamped with business plans constantly. Companies that have, you know, asked me to invest or to get them capital. So I get them in the mail every day, email, you know, today email, but I used to get flooded. We're at a huge post office box. We would walk out with stacks of things every day. Yeah, so I learned how to go through them quickly.
Awesome. Do we have any questions for those that are watching? Again, we're here to teach you how to scale your business, teach you how to get investments. Keith here is a seasoned executive. He's had over 50 companies in the last 30 years, helped raise over $200 million. So if you have any questions about your business or how FDA experience, so Hank asked if you have an FDA experience.
Yeah, Mark. Okay, so I'll just, to answer your question, I have experience with FDA in terms of with products. However, I'm not an expert in that field whatsoever, and I rely on other people. Like I talk about strategic partners, I make connections for people who are connected with me on LinkedIn. I have a huge network of people that I rely on to be able to reach out and get answers quickly on key issues. So in terms of things with the FDA, that's very critical, especially these days with packaging. Especially there have been bills that have been passed that haven't been enforced that they're starting to enforce. And then the guidelines are always changing. So you know, that's a critical area, and you have to be an expert in that area. And again, I rely on people you know, to reach out to get those answers quickly.
Yeah, I want to stress what Keith said. I remember Harvey Golub. I used to work for American Express at 40 Wall Street, and someone asked Harvey Golub, who's the former CEO of American Express. American Express, as all of you know, is one of the biggest companies in the world. And when someone asked him about, you know, your knowledge base and whatnot, he says, you don't have to know all the answers. You just have to, you just have to know where to find them.
Right, where to go.
Which is so key with networking with Keith, because it's all about, don't think that you need to know everything. You just need to know the people that have access to other people. And in Keith's case, he's an invaluable asset for myself and for the various business owners I've met that he's kind of gone through. But again, we're talking about how you can scale your business from 200,000 to over 10 million. Keith has an innumerable amount of experience about how to raise money. So if you're interested in learning more, he actually has a new coaching program that he's coming out with. Type in interested in the comments. And Hank, for instance, you asked some awesome questions. Lauren, thanks so much for asking those questions. And so we're here to teach you how to scale your business. We're here with Keith Herman, who's a seasoned executive. I said Keith Ferrazzi. Keith Ferrazzi is an awesome guy too. What's up, Keith? But if we can just share again, remind the audience, what are the key 3 points for a business plan and what a business plan is, because some of our audience members signed on a little later.
Right. So again, just to kind of recap a bit, the 3 key parts that I would focus on would be, one are the financials, because when people review the business plan, they're going to focus really on 3 areas. They're going to look at what your business plan is. The financials, how realistically they are. They want to know how quickly they're going to get their investment back, what that's going to look like, the return. They're also going to look at the executive team, the people that are running the business. What's their experience? Why are they doing what they're doing? Have they worked together before? How long have they done that? And then also the third thing is strategic advisors, people that they have an association with or the ability to reach out to be able to solve greater problems. So I would say that those are the 3 most important parts of your plan. There's other things that you need to put in there about your product, your service, the market, and all of that. But in terms of an investor, they want to know, do you understand how to run a business? And can you execute? And if you run into problems, can you solve it? So that would have to do with your financial plan, your executive team, and your strategic advisors.
So let's say that's a great point. So it's about the financial plan, the money, the team and the advisors, right? But what if someone's just starting out, has a great idea? Like, is it like literally not possible for this person to raise money if they don't have the financials in place?
Well, I mean, it's very difficult to raise money without having a plan. I go back to the shoebox story.
But you did it, right?
The
The guy had
gentleman
a
came to
shoebox.
me for $300,000, and I couldn't invest the money because I didn't really. I knew what the product. I knew what basically the product was, but I had no comfort whatsoever that he could actually execute on what he was doing. And so that's why the organization is important.
And let's drill deeper into this whole financials. What specifically do you mean about the financials that they need to show you?
So the two basic things are an operating statement, which is essentially a statement that shows the stream of money coming into your business and the stream of money going out. So simply put, it's the income and the expenses. Now, if you're starting out with a business, obviously you don't have that. So what you want to do is you want to use a pro forma, which is a projection of what you anticipate your business looking like. It's also known as a budget. There's other terms for it. And nobody's 100% on, but what it does is it shows the thought that you have, the amount of thought that you put in before you're doing it. So in other words, if you don't include marketing and advertising and public relations into a budget when you're selling, let's say, cheese, when you go to the grocer to try to get your product in, the first question they're going to ask you is, well, how are people going to know about this product, and how are they going to move it off of our shelves? So that's kind of an example as to why you need to have that information in there, because that's what an investor is going to look at. They want to know that you've given this thought and that you've covered these various areas, and you have a good likelihood of executing. Numbers don't have to be spot on. Nobody really knows. There's certain industry standards for certain things, but the majority of the time every business is unique. It's just really more of a most important that you've given it thought, all these different areas, instead of having just 3 or 4 items or 5 items. The more items you can put in there, the better.
That's great advice, Keith. And is it true that I heard sometime where when you're starting a company, you should really think about an exit plan as well? Like if that's one of your goals where you want to exit, let's say in 5 to 7 years, is that something you consider as you're building out your business early on?
Absolutely, because a lot of businesses are built to sell. And so essentially, when you start a company that that you're going to exit, you actually grow the business in reverse. And what I mean is you start at what you need to achieve, let's say in sales, to sell it at a certain value, and then you kind of work backwards in terms of how you're going to be able to eventually get up to that number. And so it's from the top down, and that's how IBM was started. There's a great book called The E-Myth that you can read. It's a very short book, but it talks about that, and it's a great book that I read many years ago. I would highly recommend it. And for those folks who definitely are looking to sell down the road.
Awesome. So that was the first point about having your financials in place. What about the team? Can you kind of again, elaborate on saying the founders and their experience?
Right. So very often I'm approached by somebody who says, I have, let's say, a product that I want to sell, and I'm, let's say, I'm a chiropractor, and I have this product to sell, fishing rods. And so I asked them, why are you selling fishing rods? And they say, well, I met a gentleman and he told me that, there's big profit margin in it. And I asked him, well, do you like fishing? No, I don't like fishing. I just, I think it's a great profit, play, and that's why I want to do it. I'm looking for, other business ventures. That's a situation where any investor who's going to look at that is going to, be reluctant to invest, because they know that it's not something that the person is passionate about. It's strictly about the money, and if it doesn't work out, they're probably just going to walk away. So they want to know that whoever started the company is passionate about what it is that they're doing, and they also want to see the other people that are going along for the ride and how they work together. Do they have experience? Do they know each other? personalities. That's, when the going gets tough, it's, how well can you work together collaboratively and collectively. So that's, very important.
That's great. And so these 3 points is what you stressed before, where though the business plan might be 50, 60, 70 pages, but the 2 or 3 points that you stressed was really financials, your core team, and strategic advisors. Right. Would you say those are the 3 key things?
I'll just go back real quickly. So in addition to the operating statement, there could also be a balance sheet if you have assets, equipment, or things of value. So that's something that folks would look at also, especially if you're looking to raise money or you're looking to get debt or a loan, something like that. So just wanted to touch on that. Those statements only need to be a page or 2. You don't need to have these crazy statements. An operating statement is generally a page or 2 at most, and a balance sheet usually is just 1 page. So I would just keep that simple with regards to the financials.
Okay. And again, why do you think it's so important for those who are listening now? Again, we're here with Keith Herman. He's a seasoned executive. He helps businesses scale from $200,000 to $10 million. He's helped raise money too. So we get approached all the time on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, all these different channels. They're always saying, how do you find investors? So Keith was saying, well, look, have a business plan, have 3 basic points, which is financials, your team, and strategic advisors. And so let's just give a little shout out for everyone on the call. So we have Nicole, Sarah, thanks so much for watching. Cami, Baker, thanks so much for watching. Hillary, Raul, Adam, Dylan. So if you have any questions on raising money for your business, and really it's about strategy, right, Keith? I mean, even if, let's say, people don't have a business, even in your career, if you have a depth of knowledge and awareness of strategy, you just build and scale your own life. Would you say that's fairly true, where the things you learn on creating a business plan, it's also applicable for your own life as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's planning. I mean, you can never go wrong by planning. I mean, the great thing about a business plan is not every business plan is going to be executed exactly the way it's prepared. But what it is it's at least a guideline of how to get to your destination. It would be like going to San Francisco. You know you're going to get there. You have your map. But you get on the freeway and all of a sudden there's a huge accident, you have to get off the freeway. Well, at least you have that map and you know where the destination is. You know that you have to, make a detour, but you at least know how to go in that general direction, and it keeps you on track. So it's very important to have that, and it will help you in your personal life as well. To at least keep your goals clear in your mind and where it is that you're ultimately trying to get.
That's awesome. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to type it into my Facebook or Keith's Facebook. If you have any questions on how you can scale your business, on how you can raise money. Yeah, so you just have to scroll from down. Wait a minute. Yeah, here we go.
At the bottom.
So, Brian, Richie, thanks for tuning in. Amy, Durwood, Amy, thanks for sharing. So again, if any of you have any questions for Keith Herman here on how to scale your business, how to raise money, we get approached all the time. Raul said, discuss the importance of passion and energy, how to catch the attention of a potential investor. In my experience, the business plan comes second. Interesting. So Raul says, discuss the importance of passion and energy, how to catch the attention of a potential investor, because in his experience, the business plan comes second. What do you think about that, Keith?
Well, there's no question that your passion is really important, because, that's what you're starting out with. But, you need to have something to back it up, because, talk is talk, and you're eventually going to need to walk the walk. But that being said, the passion that you have will come through in your business plan. And that's what I was talking about, why it's so important to talk about the team that's going to execute and who's working. It'll come through in there. It'll also come through in the differentiation of what it is that you have versus the competition and the marketplace. So I would tell you that there's no question that passion is critical, but they go hand in hand.
Yeah, and Raul, to be honest, we meet a lot of passionate people, especially in Hollywood, right? But if the numbers are not there, then how do you invest in that if it's just passion? You know, when people say, "Oh, I have a great idea," how many times have you heard that, Keith? I have a great idea.
I have to tell you, I hear incredible ideas every single day, and not one or two, and probably at least a dozen. And people have great ideas, but the thing is that the overwhelming majority of them, they can't execute. They have an idea, but they have no way, no knowing whatsoever, no business sense. They don't know anybody to go to. They don't evaluate, how they would do it. And that's why, I'm sure as you know, we all know people who talk about all sorts of things, but they never materialize because, they just don't take the time to do it, and they don't have the passion. People say, well, I'm an idea guy. Well, partner with somebody who knows how to execute. Great to be an idea guy, but get a strategic partner who can actually make your dream come true.
Yeah, that's so key because, again, it's a business plan, right? You're planning for your business, and in business, as Warren Buffett once said, the most famous investor in the world, he's like, people don't often think about cash, but cash is like the air for a business. So if you have no cash, all you're thinking about is the air, right? So just be mindful that we're here teaching you how to scale your business. Keith is a seasoned professional who has raised literally over $200 million over the last 30 years. And so this is the kind of guy that you want to really be advised about. He has a program, a private coaching program where he's going to start launching really soon. So if you're interested in the program, make sure you type in interested in the program and think Hank might have some interest, maybe even Lauren over on my end. But this is all about learning from people that you want to be like, which is why when I wrote a book about networking, it's all about finding the people you want to be like, which is why Keith has been an invaluable resource for my own business, where you can't really scale your business if you're not meeting people like Keith. And the beauty of Keith is that he has experience in so many industries. He talked about having experience in finance and software and film and real estate and health and wellness. So when you meet people like Keith, who is very seasoned in various verticals, and just as you know and you listen to him, he has such depth of knowledge. And so when you meet people that are looking for investors, you want to find someone like Keith because he has experience across multiple avenues, across multiple decades. And that's one of the best things to learn because, as he said before, to recap, 3 things. What were they, Keith, again, for a business plan?
The financial plan, the executive team, and the advisory team.
Awesome. So Durwood mentioned that they can't stay on, but they're interested in the program. Awesome.
Terrific.
So Durwood will definitely follow up with you. Again, we're here with Keith Herman, a very experienced executive with over 30 years of experience, 50 companies, multiple industries, raising hundreds of millions of dollars. And so when you want to learn to build your company, scale your company, find investors, you really want to find someone like Keith. And so he's one of the kindest men I know relative to business because, in business world, you find a lot of sharks. You find a lot of people that want to just jump on you and start picking you apart. And Keith and I, we meet people all the time, especially after writing a book called Networking with Billionaires and Executives. People are pushing me, literally, they're sending me pictures of their movies they've produced. And look, they're asking me, can you introduce me to Elon Musk? I'm like, who are you? I don't know you. And Keith gets this all the time too. But again, if you're going to pitch investors, find people like Keith to counsel you, to give you advice, because you don't just meet people like Keith at a random Starbucks. There's a reason why he's in Beverly Hills. There's a reason why he's so respected in the world of business, because it's all about finding people that have that depth of knowledge. And Keith has stressed that if you don't have the depth of knowledge, Raul, you mentioned passion. Great. I'm I'm a really passionate guy. But as one of my friends said, your path is in your math. And that's something that I always stress too, that I need to learn more about myself, because if I'm more of the sales promoting guy, if you really break it down in business, and you tell me, Keith, Wozniak was the brain. He was the person that created the Mac. But if you don't have the Steve Jobs as the promoter, you're not going to be able to have a business. Keith is that brain, the guy that's really smart and bright. And, there are certain things that he might say that you're like, whoa, that's over your head. Well, guess what? Get involved with Keith's program, because it should be over your head. If everything he said is oh, I know all this stuff, well, do you really know it? Because if you're not applying it, you're not doing very well. And if you haven't raised hundreds of millions of dollars, then you might want to seek Keith's counsel, because he's really that solid. So let's give some props. So Mark said he's interested too. Awesome. Mark's interested out of Tahoe area fitness and training. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I'll definitely be in touch. I'm not sure if there's...
So Mark and Nicole, thanks so much for watching. Sarah, Tori, Z, what's up, Z? Raul said the energy catches the attention, the business plan closes the deal. Okay, again, Raul, I don't know you very well, but make sure that it's based on your experiences. So if you've raised hundreds of millions of dollars, then you're more credible. But if you're not, to be kind of blunt, you can say what you want, but Keith has a lot of solid experience. Joanne, thanks so much for watching. In case you hear some leaf blows outside, that's a different story. But Z, appreciate the knowledge. Joanne, thanks so much for watching. So on our end here, so we already have so many people interested. Your path is in the map.
I will get back to everybody. You also, if you're connected to me, obviously on Facebook, if you want to email me, my email is kh@healthwellpr.com. You can email me there, and I'll also get back to you. But I will go through all the comments after this and follow up with everybody. We will also. Well, do you want to just go over what you're doing with your program?
Yeah, sure. So as many of you might know, I have a GPS program, which stands for Gifted Professional Speaker, where I teach entrepreneurs. Keith is part of our program. And so again, I'm about teaching people how to be a global speaker and how to build out like online programs. So it's all about having this collective community. It started about 2 months ago, where I literally walk you through step by step. Why are you the best person to be a speaker on this subject? Who are your clients? What do you talk about? Where do you find them? And how do you pitch? Again,
it's very important, because if you're in business, whether or not you're going to go raise money or whatever, you're going to eventually need to go speak to a banker, or you're going to need to speak to a distributor, or you're going to need to speak to a manufacturer. I mean, whoever you're going to speak to. And it's great to just have somebody like Chris who can just kind of give you just some even basics that will really up your game. I mean, he's helped me tremendously myself, because a lot of the things that I've done have just been on my own. I didn't have the need to be, to have to network as much. And so, because I was more of a smaller type operation, but as you grow and you scale, it certainly, makes sense to have those skills. And Chris is the perfect guy who, through his program, you can learn how to really up your game and communicate more effectively. And also, he introduces you to networking. And there's a whole other host of things that, you can benefit from his program as well.
Yeah, and honestly, here's a little analogy, right? We all go to these networking events, whether you want to find investors or business partners, or you want to find clients, right? But you go to an event with 300 people, you get all these business cards, and where do they go? Usually on your desk, and it goes nowhere. So I want you to literally look at those business cards on your desk and imagine those are $100 bills, because you're literally burning away cash if you're not following up. Now imagine if you're a speaker, you go to an event, you're elevated, you're a VIP, they treat you like that. And so what's the probability of you finding more investors, business partners, or clients when you elevate yourself literally and figuratively as a speaker? And that's what my program teaches you. We've had so many success stories. Bernard from Oahu created a speaking reel, and he has 3 speeches that he secured. Cami Baker, who's in Boston, she secured a almost $10,000 speech. A 22-year-old client in digital media in Miami, Florida, he secured a $10,000 speech. But it's all about building that sense of stature and branding and VIP status, because in Keith's case, you look at him, he's an executive, right? But even him, if he were to meet 2 or 3 people, imagine if he meets 200, 300 people around the world. So imagine the impact he has on a larger scale, because if he's helping people raise money and I'm helping you raise your awareness and your branding, it's both on that same synergistic. It's almost like the left and right tires of a car. You're both going in the right direction, and if you have both that branding and the business side, you just go that much further in your business relative to scaling your business. And this call was really about how can Keith help you find more investments, scale your business, creating a business plan, and really having that financials in place, knowing you have a team, and having those strategic advisors, because if you don't have those core things, you don't even have a business.
Yeah, so, everybody signed on here to find out how to grow your business, from 200,000 to 10 million. And, the short answer is that you have to have your plan, and you need to take the time to do that and do it well. And that's what my area of expertise is. I've not only, have reviewed, like Chris said, probably well over 1,000 prospectuses and plans, and you name it, to invest in. But I've also, have had, more than 50 businesses. So I have that experience, and I can tell you that in order to be able to really scale, you really need to take the time to plan it out and to get it into that plan so that you have something to follow. and you know with each move where it is that you're headed, and you're prepared, for what the next move is going to be. And so that's part of what the coaching program is it's how to help you get prepared, how to do that, that plan that you need, how to talk to people about getting investment, and probably most important, how to actually get the investment, how to, find those resources, where to go, and how to approach them, how to secure the financing as well.
Awesome. So Brian actually asked, thank you for these exit strategy comments, great insights. So do you want to share a little bit about like exit strategy, what that means, and how people can...
Sure. And that's part of your plan, because if you're ultimately going to sell, then you want to actually demonstrate the entire course of your plan to be able to exit it at whatever number it is, or if you're going to sell out to a larger company, what you're going to do to build out a product line. Let's say maybe you have one product, but you need to sell for a certain number. So you're going to need to add more SKUs, which means more product. So, let's just use cookies. I like cookies, I don't know why. But, you got to have more flavors of cookies. Maybe you'll add a nutrition bar. Maybe you'll add, some other food items or whatever to be able to scale up large enough to be able to exit at a large number. That's got to be all, translated into your business plan. That's what I can help you do. That's, the type of coaching that I do is help folks, with exactly those types of, planning issues.
Awesome. So we're like 50 minutes in. It's been crazy how quickly time goes by. If you have any further questions for Keith or myself, again, we're here to share with you how to scale your business from $200,000 to over $10 million. Keith is a seasoned executive with over 30 years of experience in 50 different companies, and really helping people raise money, raising capital, raising awareness of how do you scale your business. So if anyone has any questions, we'll take any final questions right now on helping you scale your business. Helen, thanks so much for watching. Raul, Brian, thanks so much for watching. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask.
Yeah, they kind of went by there. Hold on.
Well, Brian, well done, guys. Keith indeed is a genuine guy. I'm interested in private consultation. Thank you. Awesome. My website got a 7,000% spike this week.
Yes, and Brian, I recall speaking with you, and I definitely will check back in with you, and we'll connect, and we can speak further. I know I don't know if you've moved here yet. I know that you're planning on moving. I do recall, so it's been very busy, but certainly I will get back to you. Is there any other questions that we have?
Any final questions about scaling a business, finding investors? Again, Keith and I are approached all the time, literally every day. I'm saying, hey, I'm trying to find an investor for my company, for my nutrition bar, for my movie. I'm like, look, dude, like...
Great question there. Do you recommend doing a crowdfunding campaign at the same time as seeking investors? That is a great question. I've helped quite a few companies get through the crowdfunding. And it's interesting because for those folks who may be not familiar with it, crowdfunding is where you raise money, but you don't actually give away any ownership in your company. So what's interesting is that with this, it's already skipped by because we have other questions, but what he was suggesting is, do you do crowdfunding at the same time you look for investors? So it depends on how much you're looking to raise, because if you can raise the money through crowdfunding and you don't need the partner, then you'll kind of maybe frustrate those partners. If in fact you get more capital, which we just had somebody who raised close to $1.4 million. They were looking to raise a couple $100,000. They also got all sorts of investor interest in new products and things that they had in the pipeline. So I think it really depends on how much capital it is. What I mean is how much cash you're looking to get for your venture. You need to weigh that out. How realistic is it that you'll get the money for the crowdfunding? Certainly, you can never have too much money, but again, depending upon how much money you raise, is going to determine how much of your company you're going to want to give away to an investor. So, I could be happy to talk with you, Albert, more in depth if you have a specific scenario, and walk you through and help you, coach you through. What would be the best route to go. But certainly, it's not the first time it's been done. People do it. but you want to make sure that you do it so that you don't necessarily give up more than you need to, or find yourself short by not raising the money you're looking to get.
Yeah, Albert's actually part of our GPS program. He's based in Montreal, Quebec. Albert, great seeing you. And he has a nonprofit where he encourages about sports and how important sports are to minimize obesity, the epidemic of obesity around the world. And so I'm just going to finish off by saying with crowdfunding, I have a client, I was just talking to Keith about this, it's called a bug assault. He literally created a toy gun, this massive yellow toy gun, where he shoots flies with a pinch of salt. A little vial on top of the gun, you put the salt in, you cock it back like a shotgun, and he shoots flies. He raised over $500,000 on Indiegogo a few years back. He raised over $500,000, didn't have to give away any equity, raised $500,000, and now he's been able to scale his business to a few $1,000,000 last I checked. But the point is, he used Indiegogo for crowdfunding. Some people use Kickstarter. But at the core, it's still about using Keith's advice about having a business plan, understanding financials, knowing you have a team, and also having that strategic advisors, because that's at the core of what Keith teaches with his private coaching.
You also need to know where to go, because as Chris mentioned, there are different crowdfunding platforms. And so, for instance, food products don't typically do well on Kickstarter, so you want to go on a site like Circle Up. So you need to be familiar with the different platforms that they are, how they work. And you got to have your plan A and your plan B and plan C, because, you know, if you get the capital, great. If you don't, in some cases, there have been quite a few where people do exceedingly better than what they envision. But then they need to then go execute and move forward, and you need to be thinking ahead, and that's where the plan comes in. Hopefully you're going to be very successful, and you won't be slowed down by not thinking ahead.
Awesome. Any other final points, Keith?
I think I think we covered a lot today, and I think it's great that everybody tuned in, and we were able to get a variety of questions. More depth to every one of these aspects. We talked, in large part about, this business plan and, the value of it. But there's other aspects we weren't able to touch on. But, we really, are here to help companies that have, something to benefit others. And we really want to help those companies scale. And thank you for all the inquiries and proposals that everybody sends. And looking forward to helping more of you folks, and I'll get back to all of you that haven't expressed an interest, and we'll have other sessions where we'll talk about other aspects to help you guys as well.
Awesome, everyone! Thanks so much for tuning in again. Have a happy holidays. I'll end it with a John Wooden quote, who is a famous basketball coach. When you plan to fail, you're failing. When you fail at the plan, you're planning to fail. When you fail at the plan, you're planning to fail. Look into Keith's programs, type interested in the comments, whether in my Facebook or Keith's, and he'll definitely follow up with you with his team. Happy holidays, everyone.
Enjoy. Take care.